Don't think about you. You're in there to think about them, and your mindset is, how can I help? Zig Ziglar said, you can have everything you want in life if you would just help enough other people get what they want. Go in there with that attitude. How can I help? Don't be thinking, what can I get out of this? How can I get this cheap? How am I going to get them to do this all finance, all this stuff. Don't think about you. You have the tools, you've thought about it before, you're in there prepared. You're in there to think about them, and your mindset is, how can I help? Here's an example of that. One of the times I was there, we were waiting for his wife. We were going to talk more about the house situation. And his wife wasn't home yet. There was a miscommunication on the time we were going to be meeting. And I could tell he had his overalls on. He'd been out in the field. He owns like a couple of acres up there. And I said, well, what are you doing? You know, he's obviously in some coveralls and stuff. What are you doing out there? I said, oh, I'm looking for a sprinkler line. It was fall. He needed to drain his sprinkler so the pipes didn't freeze. I said, I've been out there for 2 hours trying to find it, so I can't find it. So what do I do? What does any normal, caring human being do? Because I care. We're sitting there waiting in his kitchen. I could have been like, oh, that's cool. But I said, let's go. So I walked, he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, let's go out there. So maybe we were just talking anyway, and I'm not scared of work. So we went out there, went out into his field, his pasture, which is, it's really nice out there. And I said, where do you think it was? And we both got on our hands and knees and started digging around in the dirt, right? And I found it. It took me about 3 minutes. And man, what do you think he felt after he was out there for 2 hours and he couldn't find it? And I went out there, got on my hands and knees. I cared enough about him and what his problem was that I found that. And he marked it, he drained the line. He was so grateful for that. And then we sat down for another 20 minutes just out in the grass in the pasture, just talking about whatever. It reminded me of my grandparents' place in Georgia. It was just kind of cool. And then, his wife came home 20 minutes later and we both picked ourselves up out of the grass and walked inside and resumed our negotiation. How do you think that conversation or negotiation went after that? You guys think, how did it go? Do I care? That seller was the one who sold me the house, $90,000. 3 biggest 4% per jet, 30 years, substitution collateral, all that stuff. We're good friends. We're still good friends. Like, you say, who would do that? You'd ask him about me. He was like, man, he's awesome. I love him. Right? I gave him what he wanted. But also, right there, my whole attitude is, how can I help you? Right? If you have that attitude, you're going to do those things naturally. If you don't have that attitude, then you're not going to win. This is the winning attitude. This is how you win in this business. Focus on the seller, care about their needs, getting in rapport, because like I told you, that is the most important thing, right? Now when you get there, here's some other tools that you need to know before. Anybody ever heard that it's price or terms in real estate? It's price or terms. So when I've heard people say like, well, they wouldn't sell for the price they needed to. Still doesn't matter, you have an opportunity there, right? So there's the price. With the price, I like to work from their opinion always. So I'll ask them a lot of questions. You guys heard my that rapport session, I'm finding out a lot of things. What do you think the property's worth? Doesn't matter what I think it's worth, it doesn't matter what they think it's worth. If I think it's worth $200,000, they say it's worth $180,000, it's not necessarily my job to educate them. I'm not being dishonest with them, but if they say I think it's worth $180,000, I'll go from their number. If they say I think it's worth $250,000 and I know it's worth $200,000, would this be an instance where I would bring out my comps that I've done for my pre-work and I'd say, let's discover together what this property might be worth. I'm not really quite sure either. Pull it up, and I can discover with them, here's what it's worth. Or I can go through the comps and say, now, after we've seen these together, what do you think it's worth? And they're like, well, it looks to me like it's worth $200,000. Yeah, it's probably worth $200,000, right? So I work from their opinion though. So that's on value. Repairs. What do you think the house is going to take to repair, right? If I think it's going to take 30, and they say 40, I like their number. But if they say 20, I might say, well, I might have to.
Well, it probably will take them 40.
It might take
because they don't have the same resources that you have.
Yeah, that's true. So I'll work from their opinion on all that stuff, okay? And I'll educate them if I need to, because I've got those tools for my pre-work. They already know it's worth $200,000, think it's worth. Don't waste your time with that, doesn't matter, right? Only educate if you have to. Backwards math. I like to work backwards math with the sellers. Just tell them, I'm open with them, here's what I'm planning on doing with the property. Let's figure out how we can make this work. And making them work the calculator is good. Because they'll believe the numbers that they work, but if you work, it might have been some magic, right? So on my iPad, I have this big calculator, and I kind of give it to them and say, let's work it out. Let's talk through this. And I have them do that reverse math, and we work into a number together. At the end, my overall spirit of all this stuff is, how can we make this work? You want to sell, I want to buy. What can we do? It's this spirit of cooperation. How can we make this work? Don't try to put a square peg in a round hole. You're dealing with them with their needs, right? So this is all in price. Terms. Well, what do I do, Andy, when that house is worth $100,000? And they say, I don't care what you said, Andy. It's $100,000. I know the repairs, I know all that stuff, but it's $100,000 and I want $100,000. What do you do then? Is it a dead deal? Store it away? You guys, anybody encountered a seller like this before? It happens, right? Now you're shifting, you put your terms out. Okay, Mr. Seller, you want to name the price? Let's see if we can work with it. Let's see if I can get you $100,000, right? Let's get him $100,000. So you need to know beforehand, again, know what you can do. You need to know your options. And I'm gonna give you guys some options right now.
In real estate, you're either negotiating the price or you're negotiating the terms. So right here I said pick one, price or terms. For our purposes here today, I'm just gonna go over the terms part of the decision tree because I've already discussed price in the past. So the first thing you wanna know what the terms is, in my opinion, is it a starter home? So is this a starter home, meaning the value of it? In my area, it's about $200,000, give or take. If the answer to that is yes, it is a starter home, that sets up your next question. Do they owe anything? If the answer to that is no, they don't owe anything, now this is open for what I call true owner financing, which is, this is the best, game on, right? If they're willing to entertain your terms, meaning you're gonna give them the price that they want and they don't owe anything, now it's open for negotiation. So what I'm gonna tell you again is, if it rents for $1,000 a month, you wanna be at $700 or less, $700 would be the max, or less for that monthly payment, principal and interest payment, right? So that's what you wanna negotiate for. You can have interest only, principal, principal only, it doesn't really matter, you can negotiate whatever you want, but knowing you need to have that payment at 70% or less of the rental amount so that it will actually break even to cash flow. What I really like about true owner financing is you have anything that you can dream up, anything you can negotiate, you can actually get in this deal. So some of the clauses that I like to negotiate into those deals are opportunity to put in a first right of refusal if that note is ever sold at a discount. You want to be the one buying that if they're ever going to sell at a discount, and not just some other person that you don't even know, and then you got to start writing checks to them. Another thing you want to get in there is a substitution of collateral, telling the seller, look, as long as I've got a piece of real estate that's securing your interest, would you mind if I move this note to other pieces of real estate? Substitution collateral is what that is. Or a note split provision, meaning you've got a note for $100,000, but now you want to move that to two different properties that are worth $50,000. You can split that note and put it on two different properties. That would be a note split provision that you could get written into the contract or a clause. Then discount if you ever pay early. That's a good thing to talk to them about. Hey, look, if I get a little extra money, I want to prepay 6 to 8 months worth of my payment. Can I get a little bit of a discount for that? That's another good thing that you can put in there. Again, only for true owner financing. And another interesting thing with true owner financing is you don't have to have a 15-year mortgage, 20-year, 30-year mortgage. You could do a 40 or a 50-year mortgage, whatever it takes to reduce that payment every month to a place where you want it to be so that you can cash flow every month is where you really want to be with it. So again, this was the decision tree for when you want to negotiate terms. This is when you get those sellers that are stuck on their price. It's worth $100,000 and I want $100,000 for it. You do not throw that deal away. It can still be a deal if you go through the terms decision tree, and you can still create a deal if you understand how this works.
When I made that decision tree, I recognized later there is an exception to this. And the exception is you can also work seller financing stuff that's not a starter home if you're keeping it short term for a flip. So don't just toss it away. If you have these tools beforehand, then you'll be able to focus on them, what their needs are, and recognize, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's going to do with his money. So you can ask him, what are you going to do with the money? If he doesn't have immediate plans for it, that's when you can negotiate something like this, right? And you gave them what they wanted and you got what you wanted. But it came in from listening and having the tools beforehand.